Got a good one today. We're talking about the very crucial steps of planting a Japanese maple. I'm gonna show you guys step by step how I did mine, and a little treat at the end. I'm gonna show you the finished garden project. I'm telling you guys, it's bellissimo. Let's go. Now, the genus name of the Japanese maple is Acer, and there are dozens and dozens of varieties of Japanese maples. Some that have a more green leaf, some that have a more red leaf, some grow taller and more upright, some have lacy foliage, there are varying color barks, so you have all these great options of color, size, and shape. Now, for my project here, I have a smaller space that I'm working with, so I wanted to get one that's a little bit more compact. For my project here, I've selected Acer Crimson Queen. It's got a beautiful lacy leaf, I love the weeping foliage, and it's just gonna look awesome with the other plants that I have in mind, which I'm gonna show you guys later. Now, this variety does have a red leaf, but it's been grown in the shade for some time, so as you can see, the leaves are more of that green tone, but after it's planted a season and new growth emerges, it will be that beautiful, vibrant red. Now, the first thing that we're gonna chat about is placement. So I'm looking to anchor my corner of the house with it, and it also has a larger tree in that area that's going to shade it from that hot afternoon sun and provide sort of a filtered light condition. Afternoon sun is just gonna pound on those leaves and it's gonna scorch that foliage. So then I bring my tree over, I place it where I think it's gonna look best, and then I step back and evaluate that position. Aesthetically, is it pleasing? Is it getting too much sun or too much shade? What's the mature growth gonna do over time? So you have to think about all these different factors when you're thinking about placement. And now you also want to adjust the face of the tree. Maybe there's a really cool branch structure and you want that facing the front. Maybe there's a side to it that's a little bit more flat and you want that facing the back. So evaluate that, and that's a little bit subjective. Just kind of use your eye and let your eye tell you what is gonna be the best facing for that tree. So I like that spot. Now let's get to digging. Generally, the hole should be at least twice as wide as the container that the tree comes in. Now I know some sources might say 3 times as wide. In my opinion, that's a little bit overkill, but it also does depend on what soil type you have. If you have very rocky or clay-like soil, then yeah, maybe you do have to go a little bit wider. So I'm just gonna dig and dig and dig and dig and dig. As I'm digging, I'm also measuring the depth of the container that the maple comes in. Make sure the top of that root ball is at least 1 inch to about 2 inches above your surrounding soil. Now, the soil here is fairly sandy, and that's really good for drainage because Japanese maples do like well-drained soils. But there's generally not many nutrients in sandy soils, so I'm gonna bring in soil amendment. So for this project, I've purchased Kellogg's Soil Amend. I'm mixing my soil amend 50-50 with the natural soil that I pull out of the planting hole. Japanese maples do like neutral to slightly acidic soils, so you can also use an azalea or rhododendron mix. Now, something worth noting, if you have hard water, you may want to consider adding gypsum to your planting mix. Just a small amount, about 2 to 3%. Now, ever so carefully slide the tree out of the bucket and set it next to your planting hole. Now, before you place the tree in the hole, you're gonna wanna add some of your soil mix in the bottom of the hole. And of course, recheck your level. Make sure that the root ball is about 1 inch above your surrounding soil level, but no more than a couple inches. Once you have the right level, place the tree in the hole, make sure it's facing the right way, and begin your backfill. I suggest to backfill it about halfway, then give it a really good soaking of water. This just makes sure that the root ball is fully saturated. Now, at this stage, let's add some fertilizer. I like to use Grow Power Plus. It's a fertilizer and soil conditioner. And this blend is a 5-3-1. Nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. I specifically wanted to keep my nitrogen count a little bit lower so I don't burn the leaves. And you always want to follow the instructions on the bag very carefully. And this tells you roughly how much to use based on the container size of your tree. Our container is about 10 gallons, so I'm gonna use between 2 and 3 handfuls around my root ball. And after you're done giving it that first soaking, then continue your backfill process. Now, after I'm done backfilling, a little trick I do sometimes is I'll actually flip my shovel upside down and use the handle to punch down around the root ball, and this helps to alleviate some air pockets and keep the soil from settling too far down below the root ball. So now, after we're done backfilling, we have to water the heck out of our tree. I'm just gonna dig out a little channel for the water to sit, and doing that just helps keep the water in place to get a full saturation of that root ball all the way down. Maples love deep watering. Depending on what area you're in, frequency of watering will vary, but generally maples do not like to dry out. They prefer a regular watering scenario with well-drained soils. I've put mine on a drip system, but I also do occasionally give it a really thorough deep watering. Now let's take a step back and admire our awesome maple. It's looking fantastic, it's in the right place, I'm loving it. Now I'm ready to move on to the rest of my planting project. But before I give you guys the big reveal, crush that like and subscribe button and hit that bell notification so you know when the next video comes out. Now, let's take a look at the finished project. I wanted to select plants that would give that cozy woodland vibe, and of course I wanted something that will contrast beautifully under that maple, so I selected some bright plants. Carex Everillo and Lamium White Nancy just brightens up that space and again adds huge contrast with the vibrant red of our Acer Crimson Queen. Now I also wanted to bring in some cool blue tones, and I did that with the Moonglow junipers flanking that brick fireplace. Now, one of our last steps, adding mulch. The mulch does a few things. It helps lock in moisture, but it also feeds the topsoil as it decomposes. So it's a really beneficial thing to add for many trees and shrubs. And also it looks good. It's like the icing on the cake. And of course I had to bring in some polished black beach pebble. That just sets everything off. I've included the full list of plants I used on this project in the description below. And that wraps us up for our Japanese maple planting. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. Hopefully you learned something. If you got a question, throw it in the comments below. If you have not done so yet, feel free to just crush that like and subscribe button, and check out budgetplants.com where we've got beautiful plants to look at and videos, and it's just a cool place to get some ideas. I will see you on the next one, and as always, happy planting.